Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Daryl Turner, a behavior tech at River Terrace Education Campus. Welcome to part 3 of the RTEC parent training entitled Creating a Standing Schedule for Your Home During Distant Learning. Now, DCPS has allotted a certain amount of time for each student, a certain amount of instructional time for each student per day in accordance with their grade. So you're going to get a schedule from your teacher and their instructional aides that's going to give you their instructional time between the times of 9 and 3. No, it's not all instructional time between 9 and 3. So this is what we're going to talk about because we're going to talk about a schedule that will work before, during, and after that 9 to 3 schedule. And if we stick with this schedule, I guarantee you, you'll see a vast improvement in your students. So we're going to give you 7 tips to setting up a strong schedule. First, a good night's sleep, good hygiene, healthy habits, healthy eating habits, focus on the task at hand, how to take breaks, physical fitness, and consistency. Let's go with the most important thing right now. The most important thing we can do to help our students learn is to give them a good night's sleep. If a student gets a good night's sleep, he's apt to learn more. He's apt to learn better. He's more prepared or she's more prepared to learn. To help us with that knowledge, we're going to go to a short video.
It's one of the most important keys to their success, but as kids are heading back to school, too many of them aren't getting enough sleep. Mayo Clinic's Dr. Suresh Kotagal says younger kids should be getting at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night, while teenagers can get by on 7.5 to 8.5.
That would be the ideal for ensuring optimum level of alertness during the day.
Getting exercise every day also is important for a child's alertness and sleep quality. And while Dr. Kotagal says it's probably okay for kids to be a bit lax about their sleeping habits during the summer, they should start a gradual shift back to a normal sleep schedule about 2 to 3 weeks before school starts. That gradual shift should focus on wake-up time.
If we have a fixed morning wake-up time, the bedtime itself will take care of itself. So I think just having a fixed morning wake-up time 7 days a week is a good idea.
That means even on the weekends, kids shouldn't sleep in too late. For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Ian Roth.
Okay, so let's start the schedule off with first setting a firm wake up time. We're going to go with what the Mayo Clinic says, and we'll set a firm wake up time that your students are going to wake up every day at the same time. Given that our schedule will be going from 9 to 3, I think that 7:30 is a great wake up time. So let's wake our children up at 7:30. This way they'll have time to take care of their personal hygiene, get some fuel in the way of breakfast so that they'll be alert and ready to learn when learning time comes. Now, setting a bedtime, we can be a little flexible with that. And the reason why is because if we go by this schedule that we're setting up and we set a firm wake up time, that 9 o'clock bedtime that you set is going to be acceptable to your child. And as a matter of fact, they might be tired enough to where they'll go to bed before 9. So you can start at 9 o'clock bedtime. And at the beginning, it's going to be a little, iffy because they're not going to want to go to bed. They're not going to go directly to sleep. But once we get into a routine, then they're going to welcome a 9 o'clock bedtime. Before bedtime, what we want to do is remove the distractions. All right, I know a lot of folks like to go to sleep with the TV on, but that TV tricks the mind into believing that it's still daylight. So instead of the TV, let's replace that TV with, say, soft music that's going to get that student in the mood for going to sleep. Let's remove the games. Let's remove the computer. Let's remove the phones. All the things that distract that child from going to sleep, because that sleep time is the most important thing that we need to do before we even start our schedule. Now, with those distractions, we can take those distractions and use them as reinforcers. Reinforcers are things that you can use as incentive. Let's say little Mikey is in instructional time right now, and he's losing focus or what have you. So you can use the reinforcer to get him back on track. Little Mikey, if you finish your work, I can give you a break with the iPad or with the computer or with the phone or the TV. But you have to finish your work first. Okay, so reinforcers are really important now. So now we've taken those things and we use them to our advantage. We've taken away the TV, we've taken away the computer, and we're now using them as reinforcers, and we're helping that student learn. The next step is good hygiene. Once that student has a good night's sleep, to get up in the morning and to take a shower and brush their teeth and put on clean clothes. You will never understand or even guess how many students that we have that come to school that doesn't feel good about their personal hygiene. Maybe they didn't get a chance to take a bath, or maybe their clothes are the same clothes they wore yesterday. This starts them off on a bad note. So if we get them on a regimen of personal hygiene where they're taking a bath either before they go to sleep or after they wake up, they're brushing their teeth and they're putting on clean clothes, this starts their day off on a positive note. Now, when we talk about putting on clean clothes, we can give our students a responsibility at night, because sometimes we want to give them jobs that make them feel better about themselves. So right before that 9 o'clock bedtime, if you send the student into the bedroom, look in the dresser drawers or the closet, and let them lay out their clothes for tomorrow. So once they finish their bath and they're brushing their teeth, they put on the clean clothes, and they're feeling great about themselves, and they're feeling real good about themselves. This is starting that day off really well. Now we want to get into good eating habits. I'm not going to get into a whole dietary program with what you should or what you shouldn't eat, but I will stress that breakfast, lunch, and dinner is imperative. Breakfast gives the students the fuel they need to get through their day. That's that starting fuel, so that their minds are strong enough to absorb the lessons that they're going to be learning today. Lunch is a good break from the learning, but it also gives them the fuel to get through the rest of their day. And then dinner is important because it's going to help them get through the night. That brain now is still working even when they're asleep. So it's taking all these lessons that they learned during the day, and it's filing it in a place where they can draw it out at a later time. It is imperative that they eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These are good eating habits. Now, once they've gotten breakfast, they've gotten themselves together, they've eaten breakfast, and now it's learning time. We want to get them focused on the task at hand. All right. So once they finish their breakfast, we're going to clean that table off. We're going to take all the stuff off the table and turn this into a place of learning. Okay. So we're going to put the iPad and the pencils and the paper and crayons or whatever tools we need to learn that day. We're going to put it on that table. The reason why we're putting it on the table is so that the student recognizes this as a place of learning when they sit down at the table. All right. When they're finished learning, take all the learning tools off the table. Put your salt and pepper shakers back, and your knives and your forks and your plates and what have you. So when the next time that student sees that table, they know it's time to eat. And then when it's time to learn, we'll turn it into a place of learning. Learning time. So when that student is at the point that they're in that 9 o'clock time slot and it's time to learn, all right, learning time is the time that is allotted for school lessons, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start lessons. We're going to start instructional time at 9 o'clock. We're going to go probably a slot of say 45 minutes. I don't know how they're going to set up that schedule, but let's just say 45 minutes, for instance. Now, all your students, all the students cannot learn for a solid 45 minutes. So, there are students that maybe can only learn or learn for 5 minutes, and then they get a little flustered because it's too much learning. Well, we'll use our tools. We'll give them a break. Matter of fact, the way we give them a break is we can get timers. All right, you don't have to go out to the store to buy a timer. You could use the clock or the wall, or you could use your phone or your the watch that you have on your arm. Anything that'll let them know that they've got 3 minutes. Let's start them off with 3 minutes of learning time. When the alarm goes off, they get a minute break. When that alarm goes off again, they get 3 minutes of instructional time where they have to stay focused on the task at hand. 3 minutes, ding ding, it's time for a break. Ding ding, it's time for learning. Ding ding ding, it's time for a break. Now, with that type of learning, we want to be progressive with it. As we go, let's say we go 2 weeks of 3 minutes on and 1 minute off, and 3 minutes on and 1 minute off. 2 weeks later, we can add a minute to the instructional time. So now we have 4 minutes on, 1 minute off, 4 minutes on, 1 minute off. Okay? So we can use this to better our students' learning ability. All right? Now, breaks. There are two types of breaks. One break is taken during the learning time. Now, that's the break we were just talking about, the 3 minutes on, the 1 minute off. 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. That 1 minute is the break. The second type of break is the break that is taken after learning time. So you have that 45-minute slot of instructional time. Right after that, you give them a 15-minute break where they can, watch TV or get on the computer or talk on the telephone, but 15 minutes and then we're back to instructional time. Our next topic is physical fitness. Let's take 1 hour out of that schedule, 1 hour a day to stay healthy. Be creative. Take the family on a walk. Or everybody go ride a bike. Go out to the fields and throw a ball or some family exercise. It's important that our students get exercise because that helps increase the oxygen to the brain, and the brain now can absorb more. It'll not only help the students, but it also help you. We all need to get a little healthier or stay a little healthier. So let's take 1 hour a day to stay healthy. Our last point is consistency. Again, I want to say that DCPS has allotted a set number of instructional time for your students depending on their grades. Okay? And attendance is a must. Attendance is a must. Okay? You are being held for attendance just as if the student was coming to River Terrace itself every day. Attendance is a must. Consistency, when I say consistency, it is important that that child is online, that student is online between the hours of 9 to 3, and the schedule that you set up is stuck with. You stay consistent with it every day. Now you can move things around in the slots around in that 9 to 3, but stay consistent with your schedule. Be there every day, 9 to 3. Do the same thing before, during, and after this DCPS schedule. But stay consistent with your schedule, and I guarantee you'll find that your students will improve a lot. Thanks again for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, let's have a great school year.